Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
Here. Hugo. Smith.
Here.
Justice.
Here.
Murphy. Present. Moran.
Here.
Santana. Miller.
Here.
Mackenzie. Here. Hudson. Here. Fuller. Edwards.
Here.
Adler. Peter. Present. Morrison. Bottom
Here.
Hamilton.
Present.
Tom.
Here.
Marks.
Here.
Furlow. Hogan.
Here. Present.
A quorum has been established. We'll now have divine guidance from orders from Ward 1.
Thank you, Madam President and colleagues. You may be seated. Today, I wanted to talk very briefly about leadership. Today marks my last month as Alder for Ward 1. In these past 2 years of my term, I have been lucky enough to interact with each and every one of you as leaders in our community. We don't do this work for the money, and we don't do it for popularity. It is our collective love for the city that draws us to service. As part of our work is our desire to help. I think we each ran for these positions because we believe that we in these seats could multiply the positive impact we have on our city and our constituents. I'm proud of the work that we have done together these past few years. I'm excited for the new alders that you all will introduce to this body. I'd like to thank everyone for their contribution and for showing me what it means to lead. Let's continue doing this important work and let it guide us to a better future for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Deputy Report Leader. Thank you, Madam President. I move approval of the journal of November 17, 2025 Board of Alders meeting.
Second.
The item has been moved and seconded. Discussion, seeing none, all in
Aye.
favor? The item passes. Madam Deputy Report Leader. Thank you, President. Under unanimous consent, I ask unanimous consent on item number 1 from the Tax Collectors Committee an order concerning tax refunds December 1, 2025. There is no denied, being none. Deputy Madam Majority. Thank you, Madam President. I move the item. I have moved and seconded. Discussion, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The abstention, the item passed. Madam Deputy Majority Leader. Thank you, Madam President. I ask unanimous consent on item number 2 from David Santana, submitting an order of the Board of Alders concerning assistance with tax account numbers 95784, 95974, 9794. Anyone want to deny it? See that. Madam Deputy. Thank you, Madam President. I declare the next.
Second.
Item has been moved and seconded. Discussion, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any the item passed. Madam Deputy Majority. Thank you, Madam President. Under communications, I note items 3 to 8. Under first readings, items 9 through 15. Under second readings, items 6, A through C. 16, A through C. City services and environmental policy favorable. A, order of the Convener Board of Alders designating the northwest corner of Orchard Street and Edgewood Avenue as on Eastern corner in honor of his contribution to the staple and pillar of the community. B, order of the New Haven Board of Alders to designate the northeast corner of Redfield Street and Wallace Avenue as the Jerry J. Bell Park in perpetuity in recognition of his love, his contributions, and service to the people in the neighborhood. Next, C. Board of Alders designated north, southwest, Dixon Avenue, and Street as Mika and James A. Perkins in perpetuity in honor of their love, great contributions, and service to the people of 16th neighborhood.
November 13, 2025, the city service and the policy. My favorite resident are named. Deacon Cotton has been a longtime resident of the resident in support of the wife community. For Worthy Barber Shop, in 1989, he operated his own barber shop called Hot Barber Shop. In 1979, he was ordained as a deacon and served at St. Matthew Freeman Baptist. From 1979 to 2005, he then joined his son, John Parker, at the Hospital Baptist Church in Richmond. In 2016, Deacon Cox continued to serve the church and community while encouraging the next generation. Many members of the community and several families who testified before the community about Deacon Cotton and the great service to others. Deacon Cotton provides free cuts to the community and residents can be advised and work encouraged. The church should be able to save the school and provide a place for children within the campus. Deacon Cotton is a pillar of engagement and to the state and to the makes great beautiful time of the very support side. Thank you. Item number three. Thank you, Madam President. On Thursday, November 13, 2025, the service on the environmental policy. And I recommend the name of this one. Mr. Bell is a man of vision, purpose, and compassion. He works tirelessly to strengthen neighborhoods and build communities beyond his contribution, whether through purpose at the housing authority due to the creation of the city park, establishing the park, teaching children art, supporting local organizations, or advocating for civic and civic engagement. He touched countless lives and felt it and left a lasting mark on our city. His legacy endures with a deep and important meaning of self with humility, passion, and love for one's neighborhood and for others in life. Item number C. Thank you, Madam President. President, at the Turkish Women's Service and Environmental Policy, I would like to give you the name of this honor. Mr. Perkins served honorably in the Korean War and later pursued higher education at Morehouse College and then at Atlantic School. Mr. Levine, working as director, worked alongside the husband in the operation of the community. Her professional activities, steadfast leadership, and passionate presence strengthened the reputation for excellence and expand its impact across the nation. Mr. Perkins, will be faithful father and wife in home service. Ms. Perkins helped build a family and a public witness grounded in faith. Dignity and care of others. Mr. and Mrs. Perkins provided a gift of people with regular love and respect. Together, strengthening practical communication by providing leadership, fellowship, quiet, and solving. I encourage colleagues to decide.
Any further discussion? I call on order from order 21.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand before the James and William Perkins. Their home is operated Perkins Funeral Home on Mitchell Avenue in the city of New Haven for over 30 years. We hate the service to all people that are hard, ones who could afford and were treated with the same care and dignity. We gave scholarship to school children, always helping the community. I urge my colleagues to vote in support of this street unity. Thank you, Madam President.
I will now call on order for Ward 4. Thank you, Madam President. I stand in support of item 16B in honor of naming Columbus Avenue the Jerry J. Bell Corner. I stand in support of Jerry Bell is not only a killer, he's a friend, a mentor. He continues to be an inspiration of environmental longevity of life, health and beautification, and finances in our community. In his senior age, he is active in attendance to community events and civic work. He continues to inspire children, young people, and many lives to live healthy and productive lives. At our city services and environmental policy committee meeting, among the groups that came to speak and spoke well in support of this item was the former president of the Board of Alders, Tomas Reyes, and former Alder Anthony Tony Dawson. Jerry Bell continues to be an inspiration of life in the whole neighborhood. Thank you, Madam President. Any further? I call order number 2.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the Deacon John Cotton. Out of all people that I know that have come from the South to raise their families up, Mr. Cotton had made his way to New Haven many years ago. Works for Worthy Barber Shop on 55, which he established himself as a person and a daughter. He moved over to my neighborhood, which is the white neighborhood, who happens to be right at the corner of Edgewood and Orchard. And he has exemplified and showed himself to be a community person. The barber shop was more than just a barber shop. He housed many conversations and did a lot for people in that community. I rise.
I would like to know for the record that any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item passed. Madam Deputy Majority. Thank you, Madam President. I move items 17 and B. Finance. Order of the Board of Alders of the City of New Haven authorizing the mayor and or controller to enter into a 5-year agreement with the workforce now payroll system to provide the City of New Haven with a unified payroll system for electronic time tracking, automation of payroll processing, and payroll reporting. B, order of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the city administrative officer to execute an advance purchase order of 5 fire apparatus with C3 Holdings LP through the Houston Ralston Area Council HGACUYS Cooperative Purchasing Program pursuant to Article 7, Section 376 of the Code of Ordinances. Thank you, Madam President.
Second.
Then I will move this discussion. I call on order number 25.
Thank you, Madam President. Item A, the city comptroller requests approval to enter into a 5-year contract, ABP, for workforce and environmental. This is a cloud-based system that will integrate payroll, time and attendance, and workforce management functions, and as such, it will modernize the city payroll operations. The Finance Committee heard this item at the November 10th meeting and voted to recommend approval. I encourage colleagues to vote yes on the motion. Item B. The Chief Administrative Officer asks for authorization to order 5 firefighting apparatuses several years before they will be formally purchased and delivered. Currently, the manufacture and delivery of these machines are 5 years. Because of this significant, the CAO requests to order these vehicles, even though the funding is not yet approved. If this body in the future decides not to approve that funding, the city retains the right to cancel the orders. The Finance Committee heard this request on November 10th and voted to recommend approval. I urge colleagues to vote in favor of this motion. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any ayes pass. That means Thank you, Madam President. I move item C. Ordinance and amendment of the Board of Alders to appropriating ordinance number 1, reclassifying position 5680 building attendant 2 to kennel worker in the police department.
Second.
The item has been moved that discussion after all the word comes up.
Thank you, Madam President. The Chief Administrative Officer requests to classify a vacant position from building attendant 2 to kennel worker. The animal shelter needs another kennel worker who can handle animals. This change will be budget neutral. The Finance Committee heard this item at its November 10th meeting and voted to recommend approval. I ask colleagues to vote in support of this motion. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Ordinance amendment of the city council.
Flores.
Yes.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Singh. Yes.
Yes.
Bateman.
Yes.
Lupo. Smith.
Yes.
Testa. Murphy.
Yes.
Moran.
Yes.
Santana. Miller.
Yes.
Gudenti.
Yes.
Alonso.
Yes.
Como. Edwards.
Yes.
Eyeblight. Peter. Myers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Marktower.
Yes.
Marks. Earl. Oakley.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Is there anyone on board of wishing to vote? Is there anyone that would like to change their vote? Seeing none, on pass. Deputy Madam Majority Leader. Thank you, Madam President. I move item D. Ordinance amendment of the Board of Alders to appropriating ordinance number 1, reclassifying position 100 deputy manager / public safety in IT into supervisor applications.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. The Office of Technology requests to classify the position of Deputy Manager of Public Safety to supervisor applications. This reclassification will provide a more consistent path within the department and neutral. I ask you to this request on November 10th and vote for approval. I encourage colleagues to vote yes on the motion. Thank you, Madam.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, this ordinance amendment out. Clerk, take the roll.
Flores.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
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 Yes. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yes.
Lupo.
Yes.
Testa. Murphy.
Yes.
Moran.
Yes.
Santana. Miller.
Yes.
Gudenti.
Yes.
Lupo. Alonso.
Yes.
Como. Edwards.
Yes.
Eyeblight. Peter.
Yes.
Horton. Myers.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Yes.
Marks. Earl. Oakley.
Yes.
Wingate.
Yes.
Is there anyone who would like to vote? Is there anyone who would wish to change their vote? Seeing none, item passed. Now, move Deputy Visual Leader. Thank you, Madam President. I'm on item C. Order to read and file the updated budgetary and financial reports for the month of September 2025 in compliance with Article 8, Section 5 of the Charter.
Second.
Item number discussion. This item is
Aye.
Madam Deputy. Thank you, Madam President. I move item 18, legislation favorable. Zoning ordinance text and map amendment to the zoning code establishing the downtown for all overlay districts. The item has been moved in second discussion. I call on the board.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to amend this item by substitution.
Second.
The amendment has been moved in second discussion on the amendment on the I call on order for word 25.
Thank you, Madam President. The documents illustrating this amendment have been provided to colleagues by our staff. The amendment clarifies that the changes made by the downtown for all legislation shall apply to the RH2 and RO zones, which is always the intent. In addition, the amended order references the zoning amendments text in that amended document as Schedule A. And that document has correspondingly been entitled Schedule A. I urge Congress to vote against those amendments. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now back to item as amended. I call on order for word 25.
Thank you, Madam President. On Wednesday, November 12, 2025, the Legislative Committee heard this item and voted to give a favorable recommendation. This text and map amendment will establish a downtown for all overlay district, which will provide the potential for affordable housing development and increased density in downtown New Haven. The goals are to expand access to affordable housing, to grow the city's tax base to support city services and lower mill rate, to create good jobs through new construction and local businesses, to improve public safety by increasing foot traffic, and to reduce local emissions by helping more residents live closer to jobs, school, shops, and public health. The overlay district includes two overlay zones, the downtown for all inner core and the downtown for all outer core. Changes in the inner core will allow buildings with a larger maximum floor area ratio of 12.12, a lower minimum gross floor area per unit ratio of 40 square feet, a lower amenity space requirement, and more flexibility for rooming and boarding. All these changes will also apply in the outer core, except that the maximum FAR in the outer core will be 0.0. Also, the city's inclusionary zoning ordinance will apply on top of the downtown for all overlay district to require 15% affordable housing alongside applicable density bonuses in new housing developments in most of the inner core and outer core. The City Planning Commission gave a favorable recommendation to this item. Numerous residents waited hours to speak in support of the downtown district. I urge colleagues to vote in support of this progressive legislation. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I call on order number 7.
Thank you, Madam President. Ryan, support this item. I want to start by saying some thank yous because it takes a village to move major legislation like this proposal. First, I want to thank my colleagues from wards 1, 2, 3, and 6 who have worked incredibly closely with our city staff and our leadership and the community to put this ordinance amendment, the zoning amendment together. We've been in countless discussions about how to make sure that we really address the affordable housing crisis in the city. And zoning is complicated, and we have worked very closely with our staff to make sure we look through our zoning and try to figure out what we can do to really make it improve our business. So I want to thank my colleagues. I also want to thank the leadership, particularly Majority Leader Carlo, who's in our thoughts and prayers, moving through many losses that he's experienced and challenges, has led us in this process to make it possible to pass legislation like this, and his advice and mentorship and guidance has made it possible. And I'm very grateful for him. And as well as always, been guiding us and making sure we get to the finish line as well. And then I also want to thank city staff who spent a huge amount of time, and they all had a lot of work to do as well, and they supported us in putting the legislation together, making sure all the details were right. Again, voting is complicated, so people have the expertise to make sure that the legislation accomplishes our goals of affordable housing. And then I also want to thank the community who came out, as my colleague mentioned, huge numbers at the public hearings in the City Planning Commission and also in the Legislation Committee. There were dozens of residents who came out and talked about their personal experiences with our affordable housing crisis, and one was so important to pass this legislation. So I want to thank the community. And then I want to just say a couple of words about the ordinance. So this proposal goes back a few years. We've been working on it, I think, maybe since 2022, and the goals of the Downtown for All vision have always been expanding affordable housing, growing the tax base so we can lower the mill rate and expand city services, getting good local jobs in construction and in our small businesses, and improving public safety by making sure there's more foot traffic, more people walking around downtown, and cutting emissions and traffic as well to help residents live closer to their jobs, to businesses and school and transportation, so they don't have to drive much. And to accomplish those goals, we've had three parts of this Downtown for All vision. There was one part about investments in quality of life and infrastructure in downtown, another part about affordable housing on city-owned land. So we wrote a letter, Alders wrote a letter to our city and city federal delegations and various offices about how we wanted to get 30% affordable housing on city-owned land in downtown. And then the last piece was the community form. And so, as we all know, this body has the ability to change zoning, and the zoning pretty mostly has not been updated for decades, and it is no longer always serving the needs of our community. And we need to make sure we take a look and see how we can advance our legislative agenda of housing and other goals by making changes. And through a huge amount of community engagement, talking to our residents and stakeholders, business owners, and all of the folks who have also been researching the housing crisis, including the Affordable Housing Commission that we set up, and home city communities, our housing authority, which wrote a report about how we can solve the housing crisis. The city planning department has the vision for the comprehensive planning process. They did a tremendous amount of community engagement as well, and all of that community engagement has said what we all know, which is our residents need more affordable housing. And when we talk to folks in our community, we hear stories of people who are being evicted because the rent went up and or folks who have lost a job and now they're behind. Seniors who are worried that their Social Security pension is not going to be able to cover the rent. We have couples who want to be able to start a family maybe and buy a house and get financial that's affordable. And all of those experiences, they are what motivate, I think, motivate me to serve on this board and all of us to do this work. Those stories that led us to put this ordinance together. And I think one additional point that is critical is about the inclusionary ordinance, which applies on top of the changes that we're making, so that in almost all of the Downtown for All area, there'll be at least 15%, and there's 10% affordable units in these buildings. And we want to see that kind of mixed income development to provide housing for all in our city, so that downtown can be a place that everybody feels welcome and a place that everybody can access and is really part of our city, more just being the center. I'll leave it at that, and just very grateful to everybody who has helped make this possible, and I encourage colleagues to support this. Thank you.
I will now call on order from Ward 6.
Madam President, I am in support of this item at work, together with my colleagues in the downtown parole proposal. Because we need to make real progress on the affordable. The downtown parole zoning changes needed to be, this proposal opens the door for a wider range of housing, including more affordable units. It will also make better of living in and around downtown, like former industrial zones that are now a good place for housing. Our board of legislative agenda to attack and promoting good jobs. The downtown and quote. It does this, I think, with the affordable city, and creating new construction, jobs in local businesses, all right locations. Because of the inclusionary zone that we passed in the Board of Office, new development business in the downtown zone of affordable housing. The downtown will act will facilitate more people and support our residents who every day are struggling to pay the rent or the mortgage. Our residents want us to put forward policies that will keep families in our communities. And that's what the downtown will do. I strongly support the downtown parole proposal. I agree colleagues in supporting this item.
Any further discussion? I call on order from Ward 2.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'd like to thank all the Savins, all the Rodriguez, all the Hubbard, and all the Flores for the tireless work that we did working on this project. Standing for support. I'm in support of the downtown for all proposal because I hear from constituents all the time about how there's not enough affordable housing. Our residents are worried that their kids won't be able to afford to stay in New Haven. We also see more people becoming homeless because rent is going up. Downtown will also be reformed with a chance to build more housing for people to live. That means close to jobs, transportation, schools, and businesses. This proposal is a common sense change that is aligned with the city's comprehensive plan and our board of Alders legislative. It also fits with what we hear from our residents all the time. We need more affordable housing. Downtown is a great place to build more housing because we already have it. And it has transportation to support more people. The proposal will also support our local businesses by making sure that they have more customers, and it will help us lower taxes because it will support our regulars. Downtown for all proposal aligns with our board's goals to build more affordable housing, and make our city more reliable and livable for everyone. This item has my full support, and I urge my colleagues to join support. And also, we all know came back to New Haven, she came before the mortgage, got handed. I think it's time for us to start that front. And I think we all have relatives or somebody in your family that's dealing with the same issue. So, thank you. Thank you, Mike.
I call on order from Ward 3.
Madam President, I am in full support of this item. We all know that we need to fix our community affordable housing crisis. Our board has continued to move forward with proposals that will help us make New Haven more affordable. From the land bank and 10 million houses, affordable housing requirements, the entire housing code fund. We also need to change zoning so that we can build more affordable housing and keep our cities affordable. Right now, families are struggling to find an affordable place to live. Residents are moving out of New Haven to other places such as universities and even further because they can't afford the rent and the neighborhood they grew up in. The downtown for all will help us ensure our zone is updated to address the shortage of housing. By allowing more flexible housing in downtown, we will be able to lower rents and give more people the opportunity to live in downtown and in our community overall. It is time for all create great jobs in our community, because it will bring in more construction and more customers for our businesses, which we have struggled after the pandemic. For these reasons, the downtown for all plan has my full support. I urge my colleagues to join me and vote yes. And I'm also grateful to work with my colleagues on this. Thank you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Call on order for the adjournment.
Madam President, I rise in support of the Downtown for All Overlay District. Our city has an affordable housing crisis. When we talk to residents in the community, we all hear about how rent has gone up or how they cannot afford to buy a house in the city. These residents also cited issues about how the landlords are not maintaining their properties, not communicating with them, not playing fair. This affordable housing crisis has been encountered on the Board of Alders, the Board of Alders legislative agenda. The residents in our community are able to work at the hospital, at local businesses, at restaurants, and in our schools, and even our fire department can't afford to live in our city. And that's something we'd like to change. I have worked with my colleagues on the Downtown for All proposal because it is real change that will help make our city more affordable for all. With more housing in and around downtown, we can make it easier for families to find homes they can actually afford. Each of the changes included in the Downtown for All proposal will make it possible to build the housing our city desperately needs. Rent continues to go up in New Haven, and we need to take action now. I strongly support the Downtown for All proposal so that we can build a more affordable New Haven, and I urge my colleagues to join me. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, this is a zoning, we will have the city clerk take the roll.
Flores. Ellis.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Singh. Yes. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Poe. Smith.
Yes.
Bassett. Burke.
Yes.
Moran. McCann. Miller.
Yes.
Pedantic. Petro. Renzo.
Yes.
Cola. Edwards.
Yes.
Adler. Peter.
Yes.
Morrison. Myers.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Marks.
Yes.
Furlong. Hogan. Engage.
Yes.
Smith.
Is there anyone who has a wishing to vote? Is there anyone who has a wishing to change their vote? Seeing none, the ayes have it. And before, motion to adjourn is appropriate, and before I call on the point to person, I would just like to say thank you to the deputy for joining us on this night for this service. I want to make sure that we keep our majority leader and our reach out, keep both my son when those taxes, those calls and all that is really important. And now I will take the personal privilege. Oh, I call her the commercial director.
I'm going to mention the fact that, Mr. passed. You can stand for a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
I will now call on order from Ward 26.
Madam President, I'd like us to stand for a moment of silence for our former colleague, Tom McMillan, neighbor, friend, former Alder of Ward. Thank you very much.
Are there anyone with the personal privilege? Okay, order from Ward 26.
More joyous note, I'd like to offer congratulations to our colleague for announcing the movement and a special graduate from Alder, Caroline Smith, a recent Alder too. My cousin.
Congratulations. Are there any other points of business? Seeing none.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Doing a destination wedding. Wait a minute. We don't do a destination wedding.
We'll have one night this side of the room, Mr. Claudia, please. Up here. Thank you.
Y'all go, the court. You have to the podium. Y'all. I think this.
Glad you